Welcome to the Folktale Project. This is Dan Scholz, and today we have the end. The end. It has been 21 days of stories, and today we have it all ending very well. We've seen George of the White Moor and Bee of the Clarities through all kinds of trials and tribulations, and if today you are just discovering the Folktale Project, I beg of you, please, go to folktaleproject.com or go to wherever you're listening to this and head back and start from chapter 1 of Bee, Princess of the Dwarves, and work your way here because, my goodness, we've come a long way for this ending, and it is just the perfect ending for this story. This is Bee, Princess of the Dwarves, chapter 21. In which all ends well. The next day, George and Freeheart dressed themselves in sumptuous clothes which the dwarfs had prepared for them, and betook themselves to the hall of state, where King Loc, in the dress of an emperor, soon came to join them, as he had promised. He was followed by his officers wearing arms and furs of a wild magnificence, and helmets on which swan wings waved. The dwarfs, thronging in crowds, came in by the windows, the ventilators, and the chimneys, and even crept under the seats. King Loc got up onto a stone table, at the end of which were drawn up rows of flagons, candlesticks, bowls, and cups of fine gold and of marvelous workmanship. He motioned to Bee and to George to come near, and said, "Bee, the law of the dwarf people requires that a stranger received within our house should be free at the end of 7 full years. You have spent 7 years in our midst, Bee, and I would be a bad citizen and a guilty king if I detained you any longer. But before I let you go away, I wish, not having been able to marry you, to betroth you myself to the man you have chosen. I do so with joy, because I love you more than myself, and my pain, if any is left, is like a little shadow unnoticed in my happiness. Bee of the Clarities, Princess of the Dwarves, give me your hand, and you, George of the White Moor, give me yours." Having put the hand of George in that of Bee, King Loc turned to his people and said in a loud voice, "Little men, my children, you are witnesses that these two here undertake mutually to marry each other on earth. Let them return there together, and together bring forth deeds of courage, modesty, and faithfulness, as good gardeners tend to bring to flower roses, carnations, and peonies." At these words the dwarfs shouted loudly, and not knowing whether they ought to lament or to rejoice, they were distracted by contrary feelings. King Loc turned again to the two betrothed, and showing them the bowls, the flagons, all the splendid plate. "These," he said, "are the presents of the dwarfs. Take them, Bee. They will recall your little friends. They are given by them and not by me. You will know in a moment what I mean to give you." There was a long silence. King Loc gazed with a lovely look of tenderness at Bee, whose beautiful, radiant head, crowned with roses, rested on the shoulder of her betrothed. Then he spoke again in these terms. "Children, it is not enough to love much. You must love well. Great love is good, undoubtedly. Wise love is better. May yours be as mild as it is strong. May it want nothing, not even indulgence, and may some pity be mingled with it. You are young, beautiful, and good, but you are human, and for that very reason subject to many miseries. This is why, if some pity does not form part of the feelings you have for each other, these feelings will not be adapted to the circumstances of your common life. They will be like holiday clothes, which are no protection against the wind and the rain. You only love those securely whom you love even in their weakness and meanness. Mercy, forgiveness, consolation. That is love, and all its science." King Loc stopped, overcome by sweet and powerful emotions. He resumed his speech. "Children, be happy. Keep your happiness. Keep it carefully." While he spoke, Pick, Tad, Dick, Bob, Truck, and Paw, clinging to Bee's white mantle, covered with kisses the girl's naked arms and hands, and they begged her not to leave them. Then King Loc drew from his belt a ring, the stone of which flung showers of light. It was the magic ring with which he had opened the dungeon of the Slips. He slipped Bee's finger through it and said, "Bee, receive at my hands this ring, which will allow you to enter at all times, you and your husband, the kingdom of the dwarfs. You will be received with delight and helped in every way. On the other hand, teach the children you will have not to despise the innocent and industrious little men who live under the earth." And that is the end of Bee, the Princess of the Dwarves. And it does all end very well. And surprisingly, that King Loc has basically married Bee and George. And this is a lovely tale and a lovely story. And, part of me is sad to leave it behind. But next week we will start up with a new tale. This is Dan Scholz for the Folktale Project. Don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Overcast, anywhere you like to get your podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Folktale Project. You can find us on Auto Radio, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you like to listen. And you can always head over to folktaleproject.com, where you'll find a new story waiting for you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you've enjoyed this tale, The Princess of the Dwarves, please head on over to folktaleproject.com/support. I do appreciate everything. Next week, as I said, we'll be back with a new story, and it's a surprise for now. As always, thank you so much for listening.